Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Strawberry Hill Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Simmons, and we are here at the lovely Shop Cigar Lounge. If you haven't been here, please come down. And before we get started, I want you to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and share whenever you get a chance. And on today's episode, we have my fam, one and only Earl Watson. I call him EJ. Originally from the dot, made it out, successful. We're going to get into all of that. Welcome here, EJ, my guy.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you. And then we got Marcus Johnson, my boy.
Yeah.
I don't know what he wants to be called today.
Marcus is fine.
Marcus is fine.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, EJ, man, how you been?
I've been good, man. Just lifing. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of us, when you choose a career, you can stay in it forever. You choose a job, you have to constantly reinvent yourself. And professional sports is a job. It's not a career, whether you're coaching or playing. Mm-hmm. So you have to constantly reinvent yourself, and I call that lifing, right? Evolving and growing.
So you are currently NBA TV, right?
NBA TV and Pac-12 TV. So I do college basketball and the NBA.
Cool.
Like analyzing, breaking down, sometimes calling games, and staying involved in the vein of sports for me, especially hoop, is my calling.
So let's get into that. So originally from the dot, 57th Street, correct?
59th.
59th.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm just talking about the exit.
Yeah.
So you high school, was it Washington and Sligo?
I went to Sligo for like a couple of months, and then Washington for the rest of my high school tenure. Two different schools, two different styles of school, two different. Everything is different from both schools. You know what I mean? Sligo had air conditioning, we didn't. Sligo had heat, we had the old heater that just smelled bad. You know what I mean? Sligo had warm French fries, we had cool pizza. You know what I'm saying? But I love my time at Washington, man. I wouldn't change anything in my life. Any path, any journey, any obstacle for no reason. Public schools my entire life. Mm-hmm. And to me, that says a lot when you talk about USD 500 Wyandotte County.
Yeah, so Marcus went to Sumner, and that's, I guess,
the best high school. You can say that.
Oh, okay.
You go ahead and say
I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's fair.
I can't talk too much. I went to Piper, so at least we had warm everything.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But so tell me, I guess, the journey of being a kid from Wyandotte County and then playing basketball here, getting recruited, and then you are leaving Kansas City and going to LA to play basketball.
I mean, for me, man, basketball started as a love story. You know, it started when I was in the second grade on a team, but I've been playing ever since I could crawl and walk. I always had a basketball in my crib. Whether my family put that there on purpose for intentional reasons or not, it manifested. And just being in love with the game, man. The game of basketball to me is like abstract art. It's not a sport to me. I don't see it as a sport. I don't see it as anything physical. I see it as like mental chess. Like there's so many different patterns within the game of basketball. And once you start to learn it the way I learned it that way, I started to find ways to manipulate the patterns to be successful as a player and then as being a part of a team. Mm-hmm. And so like things just started to build up early in grade school. Wherever I was at, I played basketball. If I was in my mom's front room, I played basketball. If I was in my bedroom, I played basketball. The game was constant for me. I was the kid that would write all of my play calls, draw out the plays on my homework, and be all on the side of my homework. And teachers would write letters like, quit doing that. But that's how I could remember the play. I had to write it out. And then I started to write out and create other plays within the play. Mm-hmm. And my mind just kept going, almost like an addiction, right? And it grew. I had never in my life have I ever thought I'm going to make it to the NBA. Like I was always in the moment. And then when I had a chance to be a kid, I was a kid, right? And when I played, I was serious and locked in, and my imagination just kept growing as I grew.
So when did it click for you that, hey, I could make this hobby or make this love into the NBA? When?
So I say this all the time about, I feel like I'm an artist. I'm not a coach. I'm not a former player, or I never was a player. I was an artist. And any person who are a true artist, they do it for the love of the craft. right? They don't do it for monetary value. They do it because it's in their soul. Okay. You know what I mean? So it didn't really click for me the potential that I could play in the NBA until I actually played pickup at UCLA with current and former NBA players. Mm-hmm. And in that moment, I realized this. What I saw on TV magnified a perfection in my mind and a lot of people's minds that seem, sometimes not, tangible, right? Like almost like you can't accomplish it. And then when I got into real life and I seen in pickup games how the imperfections of each player and like my strengths versus their imperfections or vice versa, I knew I had a chance if I just got better and fully committed to the growth of, the mental part of it more than anything, the physical part, and the sacrifice of the foods and working out, so to speak.
So you got to UCLA with Steve Lavin was the coach at the time, but then you kind of had, you had a great mentor there at John Wooden too, right? Because he was still alive and he was still involved in the program. That had to have been a huge, just accomplishment of just, not even accomplishment, but just a huge deal, just being able to pick his brain.
My mentors at UCLA is all across the board. Mm-hmm. I feel like, first day I got to UCLA campus, I went into the basketball office and I met Coach Wooden. He just happened to be there.
Yeah.
And I was like, how can I get in contact with you? And he gave me his number. And I was like, I can call you? He's like, yeah. I was like, cool. I'm going to call you and I'm going to visit. He was like, come over.
Yeah.
Right? Like, perfect. And they was like, okay, let's go into the gym. Because, we can play. You want to go play pickup? I was like, yeah, let's go play pickup. So I leave the basketball office. I go into the gym. And I see Magic Johnson running drills. And I was like, I have to get in this.
Yeah.
So, I went to Magic, introduced myself. I was like, I want to work out with you every day. He was like, be here an hour before I get here. And you can join in anytime you want. And then it just kept manifesting, man. Like a person who was very influential in my life at UCLA was Master P. And it's just random how it happened. I met him playing pickup. And I just started asking him a lot of questions. And this is something about me that I think a lot of people need to learn. Maybe it helps them, maybe it doesn't. I'm not too big for any room. Mm-hmm. Right? Okay. If I get into a space and I really see something that a skill or a leadership or knowledge that you have that I want to grow into, I'm going to ask. And I'm going to, be humble enough to say, can you teach me, or can I learn from you, or can you be a mentor? And I asked Master P this question back then. This is when Master P was at his height, mm-hmm. right? This is when everyone was selling their label. He never sold his, right? Everyone was selling, like Def Jam sold, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, why wouldn't you cash out and take the $300 million? It just makes sense to me. And he was like, because I built it. He said, and if I ever lost it, I know how to get it because I built it. No one gave it to me. So I can redo all of this in a whole different lane. And you see Master P in movies. You see Master P in cereal. Mm-hmm. You see Master P in rap chips. Everything. You see Master P now doing business seminars. Like, he gave me that knowledge and it just forever sparked me. And one of my biggest supporters while I was at UCLA was the Jackson 5 family, like Michael's family. They came to every game, and the brothers, they supported me. There was always love. And fast forward 15 years later, after UCLA, or 12 years later, I see them at a Laker game. And which brother? It was one of the brothers. I can't remember which one. They all kind of look alike. You know what I mean?
Jermaine.
I think it was Jermaine, actually. I think it was Jermaine. And he was sitting with Michael's son, right? Blanket. Mm-hmm. And I'm across the sideline. It's before the game. I look over. I'm coaching, right? And Jermaine's going crazy, like waving me over, smile big. I'm like, run. I got to run over there. It's Jackson, bro. Like, I got to go, right? Iconic. And he was like, I really want to introduce you to Michael's son. And, he's just breaking it down. He's told Michael's son, this is honor. I was like, no, this is my honor. Like, your dad, mm-hmm. for, culture around the world, like his
king of pop.
His imagination, though. Yeah. His imagination, his perfection, his will to pursue excellence was second to none. And those are like some of the greatest people who impacted me at school.
Mm-hmm. So you get to UCLA, you play to your senior year, correct? I mean, I guess what was it like being from the dot and just kind of picking up everything, going to LA, not really knowing people? I mean, you said you
Right. That
you
was
mentally,
going to be my question.
Yeah.
That has to be a culture shock, right?
Yeah.
Well, I've traveled a lot with basketball since the 5th grade. I never had a summer here, ever. I think my first summer here where I could actually enjoy it might have been maybe 3 summers ago, like something like that for the first time ever. And if you pursue something that's uncommon, you have to be willing to sacrifice everything. Family, social life, being a kid, it's out the window. So moving to LA wasn't a culture shock for me as much as it was being by myself in LA.
Yeah.
Right, I can't go home and have my mom wash my clothes on the weekend.
Right.
I have to learn to wash clothes. I can't lean on anyone when times are rough. I have to face it myself. And in 1997 was my first year at UCLA. I entered UCLA with Baron Davis. So I lived with Baron Davis' grandmother in South Central, out of all places, from the end of May till October, because they start school late. So the entire summer in South Central, which is like that's culture shock,
Right.
because of certain rules, LA rules that street politics. If you're in the neighborhood, you have to know, right? Like certain. I'll tell you a really crazy story. I get there the first day. It's like Friday. Everyone's outside, right? Because LA doesn't really do air conditioning, right? It's open windows because it's cool at night. It's hot during the day. So we're outside in the evening, right? Because it's hot in the house. And Baron's grandmother lived across the street from a grade school, I believe. And it was a basketball court where kids were playing, like our age. So naturally, being me, I'm hanging out, meeting people. I see kids playing. I start to walk across the street. And Baron's like, no, you cannot do that.
Right.
We can't go to that court until Sunday. Like that neighborhood over there has that court Monday through Saturday. And I was like, what? Like that's not culturally, that's not Kansas City. You know what I mean? But the basketball aspect, when I get into UCLA, 1997, Baron Davis and I were the first two to start at UCLA in the backcourt. First two freshmen started in the backcourt at UCLA in 1997 since 1979.
Jeez.
So we had a ton of pressure. And they just won a championship in 95. So expectations were really high. And dealing with the media, LA Times, and they were blogging on the internet before I even knew what that meant in LA at that time. Like, I didn't know what that was. They were already doing it. That was just the pressure of it sometimes. And people would tell you, like, yeah, it was great. Man, they're lying. I was in tears a lot of times. Like, it was so much pressure. I was just crying. You know what I mean? Like, I was afraid.
18-year-old kid.
Right.
I just turned 18. I was afraid. Like, it was so much. We could win a game by 30 and LA Times would be killing me. Like, why is he throwing lobs from half court? Why is he not playing the right way? Like, I could never make anyone happy. You know what I mean? So it was a lot of pressure, but I really believe this. Like, I live by this. And this is where I feel like I start to separate myself. Like, I really believe, like, if God brings you to it, he'll bring you through it. You know what I'm saying? So for me, my faith was just super strong and super rooted. And then my game became more, my workout and my skill became more focused. I became super locked in, like to the point where it was like stealth. I was locked in. Nothing was distracting me. I was tunnel vision to getting better every day.
I like that. So that LA media, that atmosphere, was that, you said that was a lot of pressure. That building or I don't know, having that pressure around you, did that kind of mess with you a little bit in that way, or no? Or
it messed with me. It tested me. You know, I would call home crying, and my mom would just say, you know, simple things to me like, "Do they put their pants on the same way you do when they wake up in the morning?" I'm like, yeah. She's like, "So what you crying for? Like, you going through something, you gonna go through it. You can't come home." Because I was trying to transfer to KU. I was like, I want to come home. I want to go to KU. They wanted me anyway. I should have just stayed. And she was like, "No, this is what you chose. This is what you're going to deal with. And we'll be there during the holidays to support you." And then not to mention, UCLA is the #1 public school in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So the work was, we don't have gym class like North Carolina.
Right.
Like we can't go to a gym class coached by our college coach. Right. Like we have real classes. Like, what UCLA does is they're really smart. They hold their admissions and they wait to see which kids get offered to go Ivy League from the West Coast. And when they figure out who it is, they offer them like crazy scholarships to stay. So then they come to UCLA, they raise the competitiveness of education in the classroom, and now you're competing with also the best students in the world.
So do you think, I know obviously it worked out for you in the end going to UCLA, but do you think that you would have took a different path had you went home or stayed closer to home or anything like that?
I think my path here will be different only in terms of, I think I would have got to the destination because I believe what's for you is yours, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But I think my post-career would be, I would not be doing media.
Okay.
If I went to KU.
Okay.
Because a lot of my former teammates are in media, right? I'm the only one that went to coaching first. Right. Everyone's in media, from ESPN to Matt Barnes, right? Sean Forn was on ESPN. Ron Hollins covers the Rockets. Baron Davis is all over the place, media and tech. So it's just a different LA vibe. I probably would be here doing more KU networking things.
That's fair.
Whatever that is, whether it's real estate or business or corporate, whatever that is. I'm not sure what it is because I'm not in their network, you know.
So you make it to the league, and I know that's a big deal. Like, tell me, I guess, what was the transition from college? You know, it was such a big move going to UCLA, going through all the things, you know, you did 4 years there. And then now you get drafted. And then now you're going to Seattle. So now it's like you got another set of goals on your plate once you get there.
Yeah, I would be remiss if I didn't tell this one UCLA story. Lucius Allen. From Wyandotte County, went to Wyandotte High School. I think it was like number 3 pick in the draft. He played at UCLA with Coach Wooden and Lou Alcindor, won championships. I didn't meet him till I got there. And it was just like a surreal moment because my dad always told me about this kid named Lucius Allen. My dad wanted me to be like him, but it was no YouTube. I didn't grow up in the internet generation where I can search him in Safari. Like, I just heard these mythical stories, right? So that was cool to meet him. And then at UCLA, I started the most consecutive games in the history of UCLA. Like, broke a lot of records at UCLA, like steals records, assists records, a lot of records that probably won't ever be broken, you know? So then I go to the NBA, and it's like the night I get drafted in the second round. That's a non-guaranteed contract. Now they guarantee the second round because there's so much talent. Back then, non-guaranteed, because when I got drafted, only 10 players can make a team. Today, 17 players can make a team. That's why in the last year or so, it's only a little over 5,000 people that's ever played in the NBA. Football, I think like 60 players can make a team. So the chances,
53 in the roster, but then they got the practice squad.
Yeah, so the percentages are so low.
Right.
Right. And you got retaining vets who you have to beat out. Right. So when I got drafted, I think my family was excited. I was emotionless because I knew the draft has nothing to do with the reality. You ain't made it yet. Yeah. You can come right home in a month. So I had to go there, and back then they had no rules and regulations to training camp. I had 21 straight days of training camp.
Jeez. 14, did it start like immediately?
Right. Immediately, 14 rookie days back to back. And then they call vet training camp, the last 7 with the vets. Now, these are the dudes I got to beat out. I done been there for 14 straight two-a-days. And now these veterans who have 4 years or more are coming in. And I had to beat these dudes out who've been in the league for 4 years, who are fresh. And it's like, I'm already at a disadvantage. So it was like the same thing, tunnel vision, head down. Basketball to me, like, I think athleticism is awesome, But if you can use the mind more than you use athleticism, you can separate yourself and you can think the game and see and make things happen and make it move. Like if you can impact and manipulate the entire flow, then you can steal moments.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that is where I separated myself.
I always tell people, I think that's NBA is probably one of the hardest to make it, just because every year people get drafted or coming in for your spot. It's not like the 53 on NFL.
Yeah.
Like you said, like you have your vets and you have the other people coming in, and you have to do it every single year so you don't lose your spot. So it's like once you get in, now you're fighting for your spot. Like you ain't trying to lose it to nobody.
And you have to remember play calls.
Yeah.
Defense is you're not just playing defense. There's plays on defense. Like I have to send you a certain way, and there's a rotation after that. So you gotta remember all your defensive calls, defensive assignments, strategies. Then I gotta remember the offensive calls. And then might play 4 games in 1 week. I gotta forget that and remember something new for the next team immediately. And that's where UCLA has benefited me, because UCLA is a quarter system school. We didn't do semesters. It's all accelerated learning at the highest level. So 5th week is our midterm. 10th week is a final. So everything you would learn in a semester, we learned in 10 weeks.
Jeez.
And then we own 3 quarters a year, a school year, right? So it's accelerated. And I never knew, and this is how like, I think this is how God is really good. I never knew he was preparing me for basketball through education. Right? Then when I got to the NBA, in college, I could run past people. I can run past taller people. In the NBA, I'm like, 7-footers run faster than me. How is this even possible? Like, where do they grow? What are they eating? You know what I mean? So then that's when I said, okay, I have to learn the game differently. I have to learn how to manipulate the game differently. So I have to study it and study all the patterns, study all the triangles. Now, how can I change the game to where now I'm impacting the game and not them?
So that's a great, a great comparison. So as far as like learning defensive schemes, you have to, like you said, you have to learn something 4 games later, or 4 days later, or whatever. Dump that, learn something new. Same kind of way with college, right? Or with UCLA, learn something 8 weeks, 10 weeks, dump that, learn something else new. So yeah, I guess that is a great preparation for, college into basketball. That's dope.
You said college was different in this way. In college, I didn't grow up, idolizing or admiring any of those players. Now I'm picking up Allen Iverson full court.
And that's what my next question was going to be, was just like, what was it like, seeing those players that you see on TV all the time and are playing NBA Live 98 or whatever.
Gary Payton was my vet.
Yeah.
So I had a practice Barry Davis in college, Gary Payton in the NBA. So if I wasn't going to make it, that was on me. The answers were in front of me every day in practice.
I would pass them in practice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm competitive as hell, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
Got
everybody in the league can get caught slipping any night, and they know that. Like, because it's the greatest players in the world, and the smartest players in the world, and we all are looking for an advantage, whether it's by food, by water, by a sports drink, by drinking green tea, right? It's always an advantage somewhere. Some players drink coffee before a game for them. Players are going to find it. It's the best in the world. But now I can no longer be a fan, right? Like, I love Allen Iverson. I love Tim Duncan. I love Tim Duncan. And Tim Duncan kept hitting me really hard on screens illegally. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what am I going to do? Like, I love you, Tim. Like, good illegal screen. So one time I had an elbow to the neck. And he was like, what? I was like, quit doing that. I was like, I like you. I don't like you, though. He was like, well, I can't explain, but quit doing that. Like, you got to stop setting illegal screens, bro. Like, but there's so many tricks, man. There's so many tricks in the game that you don't learn until you get into the NBA. The first time I played in an NBA game, it was a different NBA back then. It was more physical. I passed the ball and I cut through the lane to go set a screen. And we said this thing called get a hit.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever a player cut, you can elbow them, you can hit them. You had to hit them.
Mm-hmm.
You had to elbow to the chest, elbow to whatever, right? So I'm cutting through, and I never knew this existed. I'm learning. I heard a coach on the other team yell, get a hit. I feel like I got into a club fight. Like my nose was broke. I was bleeding everywhere. Like I was like, who the hell just hit me in my nose? Like I went to the bench thinking they was gonna take me out the game. That's when the NBA back then was different. They didn't care about a concussion. They didn't care about a broken nose. They just took like tissue, stuffed my nose, and told me to get back in the game. So the next time I went through the paint, I just hit whoever was first. Like I had to let them know, like, I'm here to stay. I'm not here to be bullied. I'm not here to be punked. I'm here to be just as physical or more. And that's where the Wyandotte County came out of me. That's where the toughness came out of me, right? And I had to go to Wyandotte County public schools. I had to be from Wyandotte County in order to make it into the NBA. So it benefited me. The toughness of our city benefited me.
So you play with Gary Payton, then Durant gets drafted. I mean, you play with Damian Lillard, and I know a lot of those players, future Hall of Famers, always talk about like what they learned from you. So you turn into, going to the league, learning and taking your hits, but then you get to the point where now you're teaching the future Hall of Famers up there. I mean, tell me what that was like, because like I know Dame and Devin Booker and all them, they always say something about, Earl taught me this and that, and it's so cool because being people from Wyandotte County, we see local, celebrities and people like that, and they're mentioning people that are just right down the street that we know. And so I guess, like, what was that mindset of, like, now you're in the league, now you're seeing talent like that?
I think, it starts with Magic. The first day I entered the gym, Magic was a teacher. Magic was, in the pickup games, the biggest cheater ever. Never seen him lose. I seen Magic team beat the Lakers back-to-back teams in pickups. Never lost to them. Because if he got game point, it ain't going the other way. If he miss it, it's a foul. If you steal it, it's a foul. It is not a foul until it goes in. You know what I mean? Like, that's when his game, like, he just cheats. But then he'd teach you after he beat you. Like, you should have this, and this. And I used to be on his team a lot of the times. And that just stayed with me, man. So when I got to the point where I could teach, I had Ray Allen. Ray Allen taught me work ethic when he was my teammate. He would get to the gym at 4 o'clock. The first bus would leave the hotel. Ray Allen be on the court at 4 o'clock, so he probably got there at 3. The first bus would leave the hotel about 5 o'clock. And he'd do this workout, which is crazy. He worked his butt off. And then I ended up playing one time for Indiana, and Larry Bird was one of the front office, was the GM. And Larry told me that before every game, he made 1,000 shots. That's hard to do. To make 100 is really good. To make 1,000 is crazy. That's Kobe thing mentality. Then he would run 5 miles before every game.
Before every game.
Inside the arena or outside through the street. And that's why he had a short career, because he was running on concrete wearing those old school Converse.
Right.
And he was able to only play maybe 9 or 10 years. So everything they would teach me, and we have this thing in the NBA, we give it away. Like, it's up to us to push the game forward. It's so selfless. You push it as far as you can, and then when the young guys come back, you give them everything you learn so they can push it further again. You know what I mean? And our goal is to make as much money as possible or build enough revenue where players are making crazy numbers for the future generation, right? We got to be selfless in that, and every player is committed to that. So
then you get into coaching after your playing career. And then did you start under Pop?
I didn't even think I wanted to coach. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. I was in Indiana, and Larry Bird, in my exit meeting, wanted to hire me my 10th year in the NBA. And I wasn't done playing. And he was like, start now, you'll be a head coach soon. I'm like, no, I want to play. I'm not ready to give it up at like 31, Then I went from there to Jerry Sloan. And that's where I learned the Utah way, like, which is Jerry Sloan's iconic, right? And then one more year in Portland when I had Dame. But when I retired, I didn't know I was going to retire. towards the last 6 years of my career, I stopped lifting weights. My body was done with weights. My body was hurting. I used to do this workout on the beach with a Navy SEAL, a retired Navy SEAL. It's a sand workout. It was the craziest thing ever. It was hard, but I needed to re-challenge myself to stay in the league as a player 13 years, right?
Yep.
So I needed to re-challenge my brain, re-challenge my physicality and my mindset and the toughness and dig deeper. And what better way than a former military drill sergeant of some type? So we did all Navy SEAL workouts, right? So my last year, when I was going into my last year of, free agency, I was on the beach. I was headed to my workouts. I was on my bike. And then I would just stop and get a margarita. I was like, I am done. That's how I was going to retire. I'm done. It's not in me anymore, right? And the thing about me is if I don't love it, I won't do it. I will just stop anything. If I'm not in it, I don't fake it. I'm done. And so I was hit with what's next, right? I had like a couple of offers. One was to help, a lot of mentors to help run a hedge fund, which is, enticing financially, right? But then I felt like I had to learn that all over. And the person that owned the 400 companies wanted to mentor me, but he controlled my destiny.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. The next one was to try to play again, which people would pay me to mentor. But I didn't want to cheat anyone out of, my commitment because I knew I wasn't committed to it. I didn't like that. Then the third one was television, right? Go on TV, break down the game, analyze it. But I wasn't done being involved in the game. The fourth one was to work for the Spurs for $12,000 a year, right? $12,000, that's it. And start in the G League and have assignments with the NBA team wherever they choose for that assignment to be for me. And I took that.
I don't think a lot of people realize. I didn't realize that. That's nothing. Like you really have to do it for the love of the game.
I'm gonna tell you how I got to that. I say a lot of time like the Black Forrest Gump. Like my life is crazy, right? I'm sitting. It's 2010. I'm sitting on Hollywood Boulevard, and a guy keeps pacing back and forth. And I'm in Hollywood Boulevard. I'm like, oh, here we go. It's about to be crazy. And he stops. He goes, Earl, I've been looking for you and Barron. I'm like, 2010, bro. Barron was my roommate in 99. What's up? He's like, I need you to come to my boss's son's birthday party. I'm like, bro, like you can't rent me for a party. Like I don't do that, right? I don't even know you and I don't know who your boss is, And this is crazy. This is my life. He goes, no. My boss is Bob Iger, CEO of Disney. I go, yo, take my number.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
I do know your boss. Let's
take my number. I don't know who he is. Like, I've never even heard of him, but take my number. I'm about to find out.
Right.
And so he takes my number. Next morning, I go to the birthday party. And I thought I've seen every spot in LA that existed like crazy. I've never seen this spot before. I get through the gate. His wife comes out, and Bob Iger's wife is Willow Bay. So Willow Bay for me was, y'all remember, y'all may be too young, but it was NBA Inside Stuff with Ahmad Rashad.
I do remember that, yeah.
She's the co-host. So when I was younger, that was the only way I saw NBA basketball every Saturday morning. So it always captivated my imagination. So when I saw her, I lost it. Like I became the fan, like, oh my God, like I grew up watching you. If it wasn't for you, my dream doesn't exist. If that show doesn't happen, I don't dream past college.
Yeah.
Right? She loved UCLA basketball, so she's like a fan. Then we get to meeting the kids, we get to meeting all the kids and the families that are there. It's crazy amount of like, wealthy, iconic families, right? Then Bob Iger comes home. And he was like, anything you need at Disney, I got you. I'm like, I can buy my own tickets. I don't need you know what I mean? Like, I can do that. I was like, tell me something that could change my life that I can do myself. He was like, no one's ever asked me that. So that's a good question. He's like, okay, I'm going to start here. When I got hired at Disney, that's what Bob Iger told me. When he got hired at Disney, he said he started in the mailroom. He said every promotion he took, he didn't ask how much it paid. He just took the promotion. He could pay less, it could pay equal. He just took it. And he just kept growing and growing and growing until he became the CEO. Mm-hmm. And so when I retired, I didn't choose anything that paid more than the Spurs. I didn't choose the hedge fund company. I didn't choose trying to chase a vet minimum. A vet minimum in the NBA is like $3 million, right? They'll pay you to mentor $3 million a year because that player you're mentoring is worth $300 million. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I didn't choose that. I didn't choose college basketball, which is 6 figures easy. I chose $12,000 because I wanted the knowledge from the Spurs that could separate me from being good to learning the knowledge to be a champion. Yep. And that's why I started with the Spurs.
I like that. So first off, noticing the opportunity when a check is not attached, that's wisdom, number one. But I kind of want to go back a little bit. So you officially retired in 2014?
Yeah, I believe so.
2014, and you were saying that you knew you was done.
Yeah. When I got the margaritas on the beach, I was done. I was supposed to be headed to my
your workout?
To my workout, the sand workout. I was drinking daiquiris, bro,
right.
Margaritas.
Because you started saying basketball is an artist, but it's more of it's not a job to you. So
it's not a career,
or it's not a career to you. So mentally, I mean that's first off, that's just mental strength.
Yeah.
Right. So is it 2 questions? One, more physical or more mental harder for like basketball for you?
For me, both were very tough. I would say they equally as challenging.
Okay.
Because remember, I'm 6'1", right? The average basketball player is 6'6", probably 225.
So around my height or so.
Yeah.
Okay.
On 2K. Your height on 2K. And the average career in the NBA is a little less than 3 years.
I know, and that's what I was going to talk about too.
I played 13. So you have to always and this is where
3 years?
3 years.
It's the average.
That's the average career.
That's the same thing in the NFL. It's like 3 to 4 years. That's it.
Yeah, NFL. So this is where me being the person and me being the player were like paralleled each other. I said, like, if you have knowledge that I need, I'm going to humble myself and ask you. Mm-hmm. Gary Payton was my vet my rookie year. He never taught me anything. And one day in practice, I was like, hey, G, like, I know you love me. You don't yell at me. You don't cuss me out. But you cuss out everyone else. You going to get me better? Or you going to let me just figure it out? And he was like, that's what you want? I said, yeah. He said, well, okay. Well, go get me some Gatorade with 3 ice cubes. And everybody on the team started laughing. It was in practice. I was like, cool. Go your Gatorade with 3 ice cubes. He's like, you for real? I was like, I'm for real. Let me teach you how to go out of pick and roll. Then he started just teaching me everything. And then that's why I believe I grew. Coaches, I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to seek knowledge. My ego isn't attached to my learning. Mm-hmm. Now, my ego is no one in this gym going to outwork me. If you come an hour early, I'm come an hour 30. If you stay an hour, I'm staying an hour 30. If you make 100, I'm making 200. No one in this gym is going to outwork me, and no one in the game, I don't care who you are, is going to. I can impact the game without scoring because I can change the pace of the game. Mm-hmm. Kobe can go for 30, but if I pick up Derek Fisher and turn him over, Kobe ain't getting his 30. They ain't playing transition defense, right? So I'm going to impact the game. It's 1,000 games within the game. So I think they both are equally challenging for my height and the mindset to always reinvent yourself and be in physical shape to get hit without pads and helmets and shoulder pain. You know what I mean? These are real 7-footers hitting, cracking, so that is the toughest part.
So what made you choose San Antonio? Was it just that was the opportunity, or you just wanted to go under Popovich?
I've always I always chose my teams based on the coach. Uh-huh. You know what I mean? And I wanted to learn under him. I never played for him, but I played for amazing coaches. I played for
amazing coaches:
George Karl, Jerry Sloan, Hubie Brown, Fratello, PJ Carlissimo, Frank Vogel, Dwayne Casey, Nate McMillan, The list is endless. Ron
Then
Adams,
you had Larry
legendary.
Bird,
Larry
John
Bird,
Wooden. I mean,
Jerry
like,
West.
Yeah.
Right? So I called it basketball heaven for me.
Yeah.
You know, Magic Johnson mentoring me, right? Even Coach Lavin taught me so much at UCLA. Like, I've been very blessed to play with so many amazing teachers that I wanted another great when I wanted to learn how to coach.
Now, Popovich is like one of my favorites. So what did you take from him that was different from, I guess, everybody else? Because he has a different coaching style.
Out of all the coaches I ever had, Pop wanted to be like Jerry Sloan.
Really?
Loved Jerry Sloan.
Uh-huh.
Built his team like Jerry Sloan. Pop's organization is built like the military, right? Everything is ran military-like-ish. You know what I mean? Popovich, Jerry Sloan, Hubie Brown, John Wooden were all similar but different. And the similarity that they had was they cared about you as a person. They knew your parents' names. They knew your favorite food. They knew your situations romantically. They were supportive, and they built in you as a person. So that taught me this. No one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And that's why players love those coaches.
Yeah.
You see a love for their former players and current players that you don't see with a lot of other coaches. And it goes back to what Coach Wooden taught me. Coach Wooden said, it's a lot of coaches in this game. It's not a lot of teachers. And Coach Wooden wouldn't talk about basketball until he talked about family first. And they all did the same thing.
Yeah.
So forget basketball. That's what I learned. Because you go on YouTube and study how to run a play, but that other part is just special. That's where you get the magic out of a player. That's where you turn a young kid who came off the bench at Kentucky into a mega superstar such as Devin Booker. That's how I reached Booker. It wasn't just the basketball knowledge. I reached him as a person first and then brought him through the hardest part of the imagination and executing a vision that only few people that walk the planet could ever do, right? So I started with the person first.
Yeah, because then you got to coach for Phoenix, and then now you the head honcho in charge. And now there's probably a lot of moving pieces that you got to put together. But, I mean, I know that you went through it under Pop and everything, but I guess tell me about that journey. If you being a coach, now you get to draft talent, you get to, run the plays, and, you get to run an organization.
Head coaching in the NBA is very similar to being a point guard in the NBA. You control the game. The benefit is you control the five that's on the court and the vision, right? When you're in a point guard in the NBA, I'm going to make the head coach's vision come true, and I'm going to add more to it that I see in the game. Now I'm the coach. I can control all of that. And I pulled a lot from Hubie Brown. And what I mean by that is, like, the first day I took over the team, I set everyone in the theater room. And I'm 34 years old. I played against most of them, right? I sat in the theater room. I learned this from Hubie Brown when he did this with us in Memphis. I gave every player their role on the team. 10 of you are going to play. The rest of you will not. You two, 9 and 10, you got 10 games to prove that you are capable of playing. If you don't, you other two be ready because you're going in for 5. And if you can't prove it, they get it for the rest of the season. Devin Booker is going to be a starter. He wasn't really starting. He's going to shoot 18 to 23 times a game. Anyone has a problem with that, raise your hand and explain why. Oh, there's no problem? Cool. Markieff Morris is going to be our main guy. He's going to average 20-plus points, 5-plus assists, 8-plus rebounds. You have to be a leader. I know you don't want to be here. You asking for a trade, but while you here, we got to be a family. You have to be a leader. PJ Tucker, corner threes only. You have to be a dog or a defensive
He is a dog.
menace.
Yeah.
But you can only shoot corner threes. That's all I want you to do. You have to execute that and be great at that. That's going to give you value in this league. As I went down each player. And One thing about NBA players, which is like the biggest misconception, is they want to be coached, they want to be held accountable, but they don't want to be lied to. Like people.
That's what I was about to say that. Just like people.
Right.
Like people think that, coaches think that you need to lie to a player. If we're going to sit in the coach's room and we're going to complain about a player, and then we go into practice and we don't tell the player, are we teaching? I'm going to tell you in front of if I say it in here, I'm going to say it out there. And I'm going to say it in front of the entire team. And I got that from UB Brown.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. So that really is discussed in back rooms. Like, hey, this is going to be your job, is your role.
It's not. It's what I did is rare.
Oh, okay.
What I did is rare. And how do you sit in front of a roster of 200 million and tell them what they gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, they make 10 times more than the coach.
Is that hard?
It wasn't hard for me because I played. But if I had never played, I could see how it could be intimidating. But because I played just a year ago,
I was about to say, I think they might respect you a little bit
they
more.
respect me. They respect
just saw
me,
you on the court.
and I get it. I've sat in their seat, so I know which buttons to push. And I'm not. If I can cuss you out in a huddle 24 months ago as a teammate, why can't I hold you accountable as a coach? I was comfortable with those tough conversations, right? Because I want to win. I know the vibe. But you get a lot of coaches, majority of the coaches won't say anything. And then that's where you get players that want to get out of there, players want to get traded, and you get this biggest disconnect in sports.
I like that. Man, that's, yeah. I don't know. I would be intimidated. I would be looking at, because I would assume that there's egos, hey, you're not going to tell me what to do. I make this, whatever. And so as a coach, well, I mean, now that you break it down as a player, previous player, yeah, I guess you would garner a little bit more respect.
And I played 13 years. And I started, and I came off the bench. I did everything. Right? So 13 years in the league is highly respected.
Yeah.
Right?
A lot
it's highly
of people
respected, right?
Yeah.
So the NBA is really good. They do pensions about 369. So you get a pension third year. You can reach a pension. That's the minimum pension. 6 year. Kind of medium, 9+, maximum pension.
Really?
Yeah, and the 401k is ridiculous.
Really?
They match 160%, 150% to the max, right?
But
and then
you
they
gotta
also
put money into it.
Yeah, that's why I can't. You should. You making millions of dollars, right? You should put the max in there, and then match it up 150% up to what you put in, and then you get free health care because they take out a certain amount of money every year, and then they have all these extra benefits. Now they have this thing called an annuity. Every year you play, either the team adds 100,000 to your year, so it can bridge you for retirement until you eventually get your retirement, right? So if you played 13 years, I would have left with 1.3 in an annuity that I can get out every month until I reach my pension and my 401k, which is separate.
Man.
You really see the business side.
You see the business side, right?
Yeah.
And our contracts are guaranteed, unlike football. Right? So if you sign for 3 years, whatever, you're going to get your money. In order to get your money, you have to do some extreme things not to get your money. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. There's been players that just retire in the middle of their contract. Like, I'm done.
But they still get the whole.
Who did that recently? Somebody did. It was an NBA player that did that recently.
Didn't
he retire? I can't think his name. I was going to lose me. But he retired in the middle of the season, right?
But he got his money. So they stretch you out. So say they owe him $20 million over the next 2 years, they give him $20 million over the next 8.
Yeah.
20 over the next 8. They stretch out your money, which is good for you anyway.
Yeah.
Financially,
So you get out of coaching and you come back here. And I mean, I guess you're on NBA TV, you do all this stuff, but I'm kind of getting out of that, the playing side. Now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about a person because we don't think we have much time left, right? Yeah. So I've known you for all my life. We're family. But a lot of people, I think, if they don't know you, like, and they see you, I think they kind of see the person of you are always giving back to community. That is huge to you. And I guess I know why, but tell people why you do so much for the community. Like when people see Earl Watson, like you are repping Wyandotte County everywhere you go.
I think it's important for kids. When I stopped coaching the first time, I went back to UCLA and finished my degree. I went to class.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could have been in Cabo. And a lot of times I thought, why am I not in Cabo? You know what I'm saying? What am I doing here?
Mm-hmm.
Sitting in class. I went to class to finish my degree. And the giving back part is just from my dad. You know what I mean? He always set that example. Like growing up, I hated how to share my dad. I hated my dad would be at the gym till like 10:30 at night. I was pissed. Like it rubbed me the wrong way. And I had these conversations like, what about me?
Mm-hmm.
Like you in the gym with them, what about me? So we would bump heads. As I got older and I seen the impact he had in the community, I wanted to emulate that. And now my kids are pissed. I'm always in the gym with other kids. Like what about us? Like my daughter want to go get her hair done. I got to go to the gym. I'm in the gym every day. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's just my dad, but I put a financial number behind it. So I sponsor travel teams.
Yeah.
It cost me out of my pocket. I didn't raise no money. It cost me at least minimum $50,000 a summer, right? I put money into that. Up into this date, from my West Coast teams to my Kansas City teams, I have, and I always say I'm in a relationship with the parents because I can't coach your kids unless we're partners. Because if you get in that car and you're not agreeing with what I'm saying, I'm not effective, right? So in relationship and partnership with the parents, from 2001 when I started travel teams, my rookie year, to now, we have put a total of maybe 500 kids into college on athletic scholarships. And I started young, and I'm still doing it. Mm-hmm. Now I'm doing it with boys and girls because I had a daughter and I saw the world differently. Like the girls need knowledge too. So now it's growing and it's evolving again in Kansas City. I'm starting to build it up again. And it's a whole nother run I'm going to do for another 20 years probably.
So that goes along with my next question. What's your 5-year goal?
It's crazy. You know, it's crazy. People ask me this all the time. I never had a 5-year goal. I never had a strategy. I think the funniest thing you can do is tell God your goal. That's the fun. He'll laugh. You know what I mean? He'll laugh at you because I never wanted to be an NBA lifer. I just finished my 18th year in the NBA. I'm an NBA lifer. Yeah. I never wanted to do that. That's never was a goal of mine. My 5-year goal is more.
I guess what's your future?
This is crazy. This is good. Yeah. This is good. My 5-year goal for me is to get my daughter into college, set her off into her career, and get my son headed in the right direction, right, with basketball, and then making sure all my kids are in a better space, build wealth outside of sports. Right? It's a lot of opportunity to build wealth outside of sports. Take that same mentality I had in sports and put that into real estate. Put that into my biggest goal. I don't even know if this is possible. I'm just throwing it out there. My biggest goal is I want to one day be a part of building a church. To me, that's the greatest thing you can do is save souls and lives. And I think I do that through basketball, but how can I do that also through spirituality?
I'm sure you could do it here.
Yeah, and then to me, that's like, I feel like I've reached the pinnacle of, then I can go to Cabo and I can just chill and do my thing. You know what I'm saying? Or
I don't think you ever get to that
I'll be like
point,
my dad, be 90 years old.
Yeah,
in the
I'm about to say, you're still going to be working. It's
just my dad, the reflection of my dad. But my goal would be to eventually walk away before I'm 90. You know what I'm saying? That would be my dream goal, if that makes sense.
So what is your advice to kids, I guess, trying to make it and trying to, play in the NBA and, because like you said, it's only a certain percentage and it's a small percentage that even make it to the league.
My biggest advice to kids, and I can only tell you my path and my experience, right? My perspective, and never lose your imagination. I don't care how old you are, you can't lose that. Develop a skill, because I have a skill that's transitional from when I was a kid through the NBA. That skill stayed the same. I just add other skills to it, right? So develop a skill that sets you apart. I don't care if it's passing. Keep that skill. Never lose it. And then develop feel. I got to have feel when I'm in a room. I had to have feel when I'm in a game. I have to have feel when I'm navigating life. Feel is going to take you further than skill ever will, right? And the last thing is will.
Mm-hmm.
Everything we do and everything from the imagination to the skill to the feel, it's going to come a point where you're going to meet someone that's similar. He or she has everything you have. And the only thing that's going to set you apart is your will to believe.
Mm-hmm.
Then it becomes mental chess. My will to believe is greater than anyone I've ever faced, and I don't care who they are. It's going to be the greatest. Only way I'm going to lose is if the clock go to that 1 second. My will is so strong that I see I'm going to find a way to see. I don't care if it's the darkest room. I'm going to find that little light. I'm going to find a way to get to that light and make it brighter. That's my will, right? So that's the tenacity you have to have.
Yeah, that's
That should have
good.
been my answer to my 5-year goal, man.
You get to
like
change
that,
yours
What's
up.
that 5-year goal? What
You're
is
probably
it?
like, yeah, I just want to get promoted.
What is it? What is it?
Well, no. So I want to go into business for myself. I want to have my own. Instead of working for someone, I want to have my own thing.
Entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I mean that's. So I mean I have. I don't know. I got an idea of what I want it to be, but nothing tangible right now. But that will. I was listening to. I was sitting here paying attention because that's. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I have this thing called 1%. I gotta be 1% better than yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Just 1%, bro. Like Coach Wooden was big on that. He was like, just
Bars, ladies and gentlemen.
He was like, just set small goals. Coach Wooden would say, attainable goals, because people would come in and be like, I'm in the 3rd grade. I want to go to the NBA, but are you the best 3rd grader in the city? No. Then focus on that.
Mm-hmm.
Are you the best player on your team? No, focus on that. A lot of times I wasn't the best player on my team in high school. Jerron Rush was. But can you be the most important player on your team? I always was.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I seen Jerron Rush in high school in the Long Beach Invitational jump over a 7-footer and dunk it from the free throw line. I'm at half court like, I ain't never making it to the NBA. I can't do that. You know what I mean? I'm supposed to compete with that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just, I learned so much just being his teammate and his roommate every summer. And I learned a mindset. He had a mindset. Baron Davis had a mindset. And I just picked it up and I just made it my own. You know, so, but 1% better than yesterday, man. Before you know it, at the end of the week, you 7% better. You add it up by a month, 28% better. Add it up by a year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I said, now you got game, Jack. Now you moving. Now you moving. Now you got some momentum. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's my thing. That would be my thing to you, 1%. What is the one thing you can write down and make tangible and then keep adding to it? You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate
All right.
that.
Before we end this, I got one question.
Yeah.
And I see you posting shit about it on Facebook a lot. MJ or LeBron?
Oh.
Yep.
Please pick the right person.
This is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I played against both.
Yep.
Okay.
When I came in, first time I played against MJ, I was in high school. Played pickup with him in Santa Barbara. Like, it's a real moment for me. It's like, that's Michael, dog. Like, it don't get, that's like
You
Black
reached
Jesus.
the Mecca.
You know what I mean? Like, it don't get no better than that. And then I seen this kid walking in and out of the gym from 7 in the morning to 7 at night. His name is Kobe Bean Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
And then LeBron came in the league. Like, this dude is 6'10", running and jumping like he's not even touching the floor. He's running on air. To me, the greatest player to ever play. The greatest player for me to ever play, in my opinion,
And podcast over. No, I'm just kidding.
it's Kobe Bean Bryant.
I like that answer.
I like that answer.
For me,
I like that answer.
Kobe Bean he's different, dog.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get the prime MJ. Maybe it would be different.
Okay.
But I got the prime Kobe. I got the prime LeBron.
Okay.
And for me, it was Kobe Bean. And there's no takeaway from any of them. They're all great.
Right.
MJ was phenomenal.
Right.
Like, tough. I have stories about him. LeBron is breaking legendary records.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My favorite player of all time. My favorite player of all time is Reggie Miller. That's my favorite player of all
So
time.
Bruin, I roll with that.
But I'm in the LeBron MJ debate. It's LeBron. For me, it's LeBron.
It's LeBron?
For me, it's LeBron. I love LeBron. I love him.
Yeah.
So we argue back and forth. To me, it's MJ.
It's MJ.
Yeah.
And for me, it's Kobe.
Yeah. So
Kobe Bean, you know what I mean?
We all agree to disagree.
We all be in the middle.
That's the beauty of basketball, though, right? Like, what you value.
Cool. Hey, man, I appreciate it. I wish we had longer. Maybe next time I can convince Eastside to go about 2. But I really do appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
it's
no doubt.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah,
I'm glad
always.
you in town.
Yeah.
I know we're going to link up again.
Yep.
But, yeah, Marcus, you got anything before we end?
No. It was great talking to you, man. Seriously.
Appreciate that.
Seriously. That 1%, I'm listening to everything. So
Yeah, that's
I
big.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. It's love.
Yeah. You want to plug anything before we can head out?
I have nothing to plug.
Nothing to plug.
Happy holidays.
Yeah,
Happy
I
holidays.
want to plug my daughter. You know, she out of diapers and stuff.
Hey, I appreciate y'all tuning in. Like I said, like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I appreciate you. Next week, we got Nate Bucati on, so tune in for that one. That's going to be a good episode. So I guess I'll see you next week. We out.
Goodbye, everybody.